tell you that we're rather short of people of Ronald Reagan's quality these days. And what it seems to me is that we do have freedoms now. It would be daft to suggest we don't have any freedoms. You know, we're not all locked up. You know, I'm allowed to speak to you here. You're allowed to come along to this. We've all come probably by car or whatever. You know, there are a lot of freedoms we have. We've got the freedom to listen to the music we like, the freedom to read the books we like, the freedom to go on holiday where we like. You can go on and on. You know, let's not exaggerate. Let's not pretend, you know, we're in a Nazi concentration camp or something like that, because we're not. And I don't wish to insult, you know, people who suffered under that kind of tyranny by comparing us to them. But what I would ask you is, we have those freedoms. We have the freedom, for example, there's no shortage of choice. I mean, today there's this wonderful menu we've had here, and we had the freedom to choose about, I don't know, about 300 things, it seemed to me, and I actually found that quite difficult in the end. And that we're constantly being presented with this freedom of choice in what I call trivial things, in minor issues. So if we go down the supermarket, you know, there's about 50 different types of washing powder, you know, or capsules or tablets, you name it. You know, we've got all those trivial freedoms. We have got the freedoms to buy what we like, to listen to our music, all we like that, but it's, I think, the freedoms that really matter. That's where I think we've suffered. And the freedom, to my mind, the single most important freedom, it's not even freedom of speech, freedom of expression. I mean, Bill knows recently from what he did, from having committing the wicked crime of having a photograph with a gollywog. He was victimised and vilified, kicked out of his party for that. Bill knows, and I'm sure many of you know, that we don't have the freedom of speech that we ought to have. But I think there's something even more important than that. And that is the freedom to remove our politicians, to remove our governments. Now, of course, people would say, oh, we have that. We had a general election only last year. Now, first of all, I would say, what difference has there been? The last Labour government, I thought I'd never see a government as bad as that again. But I was wrong. I thought I'd never see a worse government than John Major's. But I was wrong. I think Gordon Brown topped that. And of course Tony Blair did his best to take us that way as well. But I honestly think this government is worse still. And I don't wish to damn everything it's done. So, you know, I mentioned before, it has scrapped identity cards. There are some good things there. And you know, life's never so simple. It's never so black and white. But overall, in its absolute craven cowardice of the European Union, it's total submission to the wishes of that unelected and sackable group that runs the European Empire, the EU Empire. This, in my view, is the worst government we've ever had. And I really don't think there's ever been one that's betrayed this country more than this one. And it's all down to that issue of, can we actually remove governments? And we've seen, mentioned this, we've gone from the pro-EU Blair and Brown to the pro-EU Cameron and Clegg. And I must speak in Mr Cameron's defence just for one moment, because the man certainly has a sense of humour. Because he claims to be a Eurosceptic, you know, and so I have to hand it in that. But the fact is that we can no longer change our government. What is a democracy if we cannot do that? Look at us now. We sent our forces to Libya to try to bring democracy there. Whether you think that's right or wrong, I suspect there'll be mixed views on that. What hypocrisy for us to be doing that at a time when we don't even have democracy in our own country. And I think it's a very simple issue. This. I remember one of the people I remember describing this best was Tony Benn. This isn't a left-right issue. You know, things are much more important than that left-right divide. just as in the Second World War, Attlee and Bevan and Joe all got behind Churchill to fight a greater evil. It's so much more important than just party politics, this. But what Tony Benn always reminded us people of was that the real objection to the EU is not that it's deeply damaging to our economy when billions of pounds are stolen from us to prop up Greece and other corrupt and grossly inefficient EU economies. It's not that the EU does enormous damage to the poor in the world by having these massive trade barriers that make it almost impossible for people in Africa, for example, to export their food products to the EU. It's not that the EU is so corrupt that its accounts haven't been signed off for decades. It's all of those. It's not that the EU has a massively high unemployment rate. I think it's, amongst youth, it's 45% unemployment rate in Spain now. Not sustainable. That's the sort of thing that leads to sort of fascist dictatorships, as people like Norman Tebbit have warned for a long, long time. But all of those things. It's not that that our trade balance with the EU is so catastrophic to us, whereas it's actually our trade balance with the rest of the world is good. It's not that we treat our friends and allies in the Commonwealth, who many of them fought for this country as our in need. It's not that we treat them as aliens, quite disgracefully in my view. Those things, to my mind, are peripheral. The big freedom issue is that right to remove your governments, and that is what the EU has taken away from us, and that is what our politicians have connived in. I think absolutely disgracefully. And so, in my view, all of these other freedoms that we have and enjoy and are fortunate enough to have are as nothing compared to that one major freedom that's been stolen from us. So I did mention that just before I conclude, because I'm really interested to talk to you and get your views on all these issues. I did mention that Bill, and I'm very proud Bill is speaking on our behalf at a demonstration in Stony Stratford next Saturday. And if any of you are able to go along and hear him and support that, please do. And I just briefly want to mention that that's about, and you talk about the assault on our freedoms and what we're trying to do to stop it, is there'll be people here that hate smoking. That's fine, I don't like it myself. But they're trying in Stony Stratford to ban it, not just from the pubs and clubs where it's already been banned, but to ban it from the entire town, all the public areas in the town. And where's it going to stop? It's time, I think, for us to take a stand on all these issues. And so if any of you can go along to support Bill then on Saturday, please do. Finally, I just want to say, again, a few things about the Freedom Association. Just that if you're not members already, we very much welcome your joining. I've dished out leaflets about us here and also some copies of our magazine. We care passionately about freedom in this country, and we campaign for all freedoms, but above all, that one freedom that most matters, that our founder, Norris Woodward, I mentioned, who was, by the way, a member of the UK Independence Party, as is our current chairman, Tim Condon, and President Christopher Gill, who heard here before, that is the freedom that to us is the most important. And we plan a major relaunch of our Better Off Out campaign. I'm delighted to see Graham here, because the Bruges group does fantastic work on this as well. I must give him a applaud for that. They're great work. It's fantastic meetings, and please do support all that they do as well. But please do get behind us on this, because until we regain that freedom, then I'm afraid this is not a free country. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd be happy to take any questions you like. I may not give you answers.